Hello everyone, Marsman here again, and welcome to part 2 of my World 2 tour and showcase. I apologize for this taking a while to get out, but it's been a busy couple of weeks. Right after part 1, of course, we had the 1.6 update, and of course, with that, with the horses and all the new things in 1.6, we had to go out and get some horses and build a stable, and of course, then after that, we had the 162 update, and it's been a busy week at work and all that other stuff. But we're finally here. Here is part 2. First of all, just a follow-up to part 1. We had run into an issue over here in the item sorter for the food. The eggs had overflowed and filled up the chest and caused an issue. So just wanted to see, as we see the light is flashing, those chickens, boy, they're prolific in their egg laying. So I tried to see what we're going to do to address the issue, and for one of the first things I thought of was, well, we need a way to dispose of these eggs. And so at first I just kind of made a little lava disposal area here, and was just taking eggs out of the chest and running over here and dumping them into the lava. And it's like, that's a colossal waste of time. I got to be able to do something to fix that. So we went ahead and made an automatic lava disposal system, and that's basically controlled now by this switch right here. And the little redstone light will indicate when that is running. We'll go downstairs real quick and show you, give you a quick tour of what I've done. Basically, I went down through and figured what I needed to do was to drain those upper chests. So let me see if I can get up here. There we go. Basically, went ahead and created a switch and ran it over, and those go to these torches here, which I basically just stuck a couple of hoppers underneath the first hopper of the chain, so it wouldn't interfere with any of the stuff up here. And with those redstone torches on, these hoppers are inhibited, so the flow goes across into the chest normally. So when I want to get to a point where I want to drain a chest, I can just flip that switch up there, and that will allow me to turn these redstone torches off, and then they'll drain into these hoppers, and they go over here, and this is just a simple dispenser firing mechanism, so very similar to what I have up in the chicken farm, and that will just fire these items directly into the lava and dispose of them. Now I wanted a couple of different things. I figured the eggs and the feathers is something that I really don't need tons of. I've got a bow with infinity on it, so it's not like I need a bunch of arrows. So the feathers just kind of pile up, and the eggs kind of pile up. So that's one of the things that I wanted to go ahead and drain out. So the only other part of the circuit is over here. While this dispenser is firing off the clock, I ran a redstone line up and brought it up so I could power that lamp up there. That way I could see when this item was running, and when it finally stopped draining items, that of course everything would stop. I mean, you can hear the noise from the dispenser, but the light was just kind of an extra added touch. So we'll go up and give you a quick demonstration of how that works. Close the door. And I'm sure that we're building up some excess eggs, so we'll go ahead and we'll just flip the switch. And there we go. The dispenser starts firing. We see the light on here, and that tells us that we're draining those eggs and those feathers. And yeah, we can, if we go over here near the chest, we can actually hear them hitting the lava. So that will go ahead and drain all of those, and basically it'll stop when it's done. And that allows me to manage my inventory. That was the first solution to the things, but then I got thinking, it's like, this is a problem basically with the item sorter all the way around. If there is an issue, then with overflow, it's going to break the system, and I really wanted to address that. So the folks over at ZipCrowd have an item sorter, and they came up with a very ingenious solution for isolating the sorting filters. And I went ahead and produced a video, and I put that out. Some of you may have already seen it, but it's basically the fix to this system. We'll go up and give you a little quick tour. This is what I had done in the video was basically show how to modify an existing item sorter, and we went over here. I'm sorry, and did this further row, and there they all are. All these pistons, basically isolated. And of course, we've done the same over here on the other side. Um, So here's basically what it does. It basically isolates that redstone line so that if an item filter backs up, it doesn't spread beyond the item filter, because basically all these redstone lines were connected, and that caused the problem with overflow. So now with these pistons, basically it performs the exact same action, but it isolates the individual item filters so that if there's an overflow, there's not a problem anymore. It will simply just move along and go into the miscellaneous chest at the end. So that's the solution there. And we went ahead and retrofitted the food item sorter, which wasn't too bad because that's a small one. But of course, we wanted to do this all the way through the whole system. So yes, I went ahead and on my massive item sorter, I went ahead and did the retrofit there, which was a ton of work. It's a ton of pistons, but I'll give you a quick glance of that as well. Being that this was kind of an afterthought and an add-in, I didn't have enough room here between my rail wall and my rail system and the walls in there and the pistons that I had to add. So I could not put a walkway down in behind, but I can jump up here on the comparators and run down through, and as you can see, we've done the same exact thing all the way over here. Doesn't give you the view in the room like we had before, but would much rather have this in place so that we protect ourselves against any type of accidental overfilling of the system and breaking the item filters, because boy, it's a real mess when that happens. So we've gone ahead and done that to both sides. As you can see, we've got all the pistons in here. All of these items are now protected. All these item filters are isolated from each other. So as much work as it was to get done, I'm glad it is done finally, and we don't have to worry about overflow. So that's what was updated from part one. We've also done a couple of other things. We went ahead and fixed the vegetable garden. We had a bunch of empty plots there, so went through and made sure that all of those were filled up. And we're in creative here, so we'll give you a quick little aerial view. There we go, nice and pretty. No empty spots. All of the rows are all filled up, so we're really happy about that as well. So there you go. There's the issues from part one pretty much solved. And it looks like our items are drained. We no longer hear any clicking, and the light is off. So we'll go ahead and flip that switch back up. And now this resumes normal operation. So that's how we handled our overflow and our excess of eggs. And we do have a little nice lava disposal here if we do want to destroy anything. So there we go. All right, those are the issues from part one. And I want to thank everybody for watching part one. Had some nice comments. We posted it up on YouTube, and a couple of people had posted and watched it and was impressed, and I appreciate the kind words. Also posted it up on Dataless822's forum, and even Dataless himself gave the video a watch and had some kind words. Thank you, Data. I do appreciate that as well. Okay, let's get on with it now. We had stopped in this part of the base, and the next thing that we were going to show you for part two was the Iron Golem Farm, and that is coming up next. We're going to go out back, and we'll see you there. All right, so let's go ahead and head out back and check out the Iron Golem Farm. Now, I don't remember who actually made this design. I found this on YouTube a while back. When I was looking for an Iron Golem Farm. I'd love to give credit to whose design this is, but I'm sure somebody will recognize it. It's a pretty standard design. I know Monkeyfarm has a very similar one, and I'm sure other people have used this same design. But basically, there are two villager breeding cells, one over here and one over here, that help spawn the iron golems, and they come down, of course, and collect in the center here. Let me go over and go ahead and jump into fly mode here so we can give you an aerial view of what's going on. Basically, each of these small boxes on each side hold about 4 villagers. It takes 16 villagers to get an Iron Golem to spawn. So this is how we get enough incentive for them to spawn. And we basically have 2 water traps, one on this level, and if we drop down in the middle here, if I can get right on the inside, there is the second level. So we have 2 levels for Iron Golems to spawn in, and they, of course, all get pushed down to this central hole. We have 12 doors per side, so 48 doors provide the incentive for the villagers to spawn. And they're basically just kept trapped in these things, these cells. We put water in the corners basically to help keep them pushed into the center, because I understand that occasionally if they can wander free, that they can glitch through the blocks on the corners. So the water just helps keep them pushed into the center, make sure that none of them escape. So basically that's how this works, and when an Iron Golem spawns, either this level or the other level, it ends up dropping down into this glass walkway. And because Iron Golems are a little more than a block thick, when they're pushed through the waterway, they'll actually catch this next block of water. They won't actually get stuck like a normal entity would in this blank spot. So as they're getting pushed along, they'll actually, their toes will end up in this water block and end up being pushed along. And here we've suspended some lava blades, and this is just enough lava to keep them from dying. If there was one more block of lava, they'd actually die. So basically we have the same exact setup over here, 4 villagers in each pen, 2 levels, and the doors. So these have to be a certain distance apart. That's why there's so much walkway here between villages. And there is an Iron Golem. What great timing. He's coming down. He's falling straight down through, and we will go ahead and catch him from the underneath side. There he is. Hello there, Mr. Iron Golem. And he is being pushed along by the water stream. As you can see, he goes right into it. Now here we go. He gets the lava block, and being 3 blocks tall, his head will go through that. And as he comes out the other side, he's just weak enough to not quite die, but easily killed. So he drops into the chamber here, and this is where we collect the loot. Initially there was just a pressure plate here, and behind the Iron Golems, indented, there's a water source in there, and it's set up that way so that the water will push everything to the center. So block behind it. We'll see when we go ahead and crush these. Basically all you have to do is just walk up to the pressure plate and stand on it, and a piston comes out, and there they go, and all the items will flow out to me. There you can see the 2 indents that we cut out there and placed a water source, and as you can see from the pattern, it pushes everything nicely out to the center. You jump off the pressure plate and the piston retracts, and that's how it basically works. Now I had set up a chest here, and of course I have a hopper underneath that so that I could automatically just drop things in the chest, and the item sorter is not too far away. It's over in that section of the hill over there. So we went ahead and tied that in. And actually, just before this video, there was something that I wanted to do for this Iron Golem Farm. I wanted to automate this because, if I don't remember to come out and jump on the pressure plate and grab the stuff and go down and put it in the chest, sometimes these can build up. So it's like, well, how can I automate this so that this happens? And I didn't want to destroy the setup here. I wanted to be able to do just what I showed you, is just be able to run up to that pressure plate, step on it, and still get stuff. So what I did is, you can't see it, but underneath this water block here, there is a hopper. And what I did is I used something similar to what we do with the chickens. We have a daylight sensor in here. So let me go ahead and break out some of these blocks, and we'll show you basically how this works. I've got a daylight sensor that comes down and goes in to this block with a torch on the side, runs around to this block, and that would power or unpower this torch in this case, and then we go ahead and invert it here, and we bring, well, see if I can get up there. And we bring that up and bring that into a torch that's underneath the block, and this is kind of like vertical wiring that goes up and goes to that piston. Now up on top, what we did so that we could make this work both ways, here is the block underneath the pressure plate. So being that that block gets powered and this redstone gets powered, these hoppers will not work. That I can hear another Iron Golem coming in over the top. So basically, when this pressure plate is on, it's going to block this hopper from drawing anything. So I can stand on that pressure plate, and this hopper will not suck the items out. So I can just stand there and collect them. But when I'm not standing on the pressure plate, all of this stuff is off, all this circuitry, and basically this hopper is free to drain those items as they come out, and they go down and it goes out through the wall here and into the hopper chain that I've got underneath the chest. So before, this was just a straight line that went over to that block, which powered the piston, but now we've kind of moved it off to the side here and made room for this other circuitry. So getting back to this, when it becomes daylight, this whole line will light up, and it will go ahead and it will power up that piston and keep it latched up, and this side of it will go through a bunch of repeaters on 4 ticks and then come back around, and then finally it will disable that. And there's just enough delay to go ahead and kill those iron golems and automatically collect the loot that they drop. And now this is something that can run either manually by going in and let me get a block here, put that iron in here for later. So I can either do this manually or it runs automatically if I'm not present. So that's why there's not an awful lot of iron golems built up here. I was testing this earlier. Right now it's nighttime, so when daylight comes around, that guy will get crushed along with any of his buddies that happen to show up, and all the loot will just go down that hopper over here and catch this hopper chain that runs along here and then down and then back into the base. So there is my Iron Golem Farm. It works extremely well. I built one of these in the first world, and it worked so successfully that I went ahead and built another one. Oh, we got lots of nasties over there. So, whoop, and a spider. Good thing I am in creative mode at this time. They're not attacking me, which is good. Okay, so that is the Iron Golem Farm. I hope you enjoyed that. And now we're going to go ahead and continue the tour. We'll come back into the base here, and we're going to go outside. The next thing to show you is the Tree Eater. This is probably one of my favorite builds, just simply because it's so over the top and just crazy, and it was just a tremendous challenge to build this. It's a very complicated redstone circuit, and following the video, the person that did this did a very good job in the tutorial, and it made it fairly easy. But even so, it was a lot of stopping and rewinding and checking the video to make sure everything was right. And we'll show you all that in just a second. The Tree Eater coming up here on Marsman's World Tour and Showcase. We'll be right back. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll head outside and out in the front of the workshop. All of these pillars here have redstone lights that are basically run off a daylight sensor, which we've got buried over in the yard. Whoop, a little chunk loading glitch there. There's our daylight sensor glass so the sunlight can come in. And a little courtyard here. And we'll go ahead and go up across and over the bridge and over here toward the Tree Eater location. Now this location was kind of a natural cut in the mountain, but I went ahead and hollowed a bunch of stuff out. I originally saw this Tree Eater, and it's like, wow, this thing is just insane. I got to build one of these. So we spent a lot of time digging this whole square out, and as I said, this is one of my favorite builds. This thing is enormous. This room took forever to cut out, and I really kind of like the way it looks. It kind of reminds me of like the space shuttle, like the vertical assembly building, because it's just so tall and so massive. And I had no idea how big this thing was going to be, so I just took a guess and just kind of hollowed out all the walls and hoped it was going to fit within the confines of the ceiling, which it just managed to do. I was extremely lucky. It came up and it just hit the roof and was not any bigger. So um, this is the lower section. This is the guts, basically. All of this redstone and circuitry basically runs the gravel column that pushes up the blocks, and we'll see that in action in a little bit. I'm not even going to attempt to explain how all this works. It's, if you want to see it, you can certainly put the link for the tutorial, but basically we've got clocks in here and repeaters and all kinds of delay systems that all run all of this stuff and the pistons and push the gravel up, and it's incredible. So let's go ahead and head on up to the control room area where everything is done, which is about halfway up. So here is the control room, kind of a nice little view of the base over there, and this is basically where all the stuff happens. As you can see, there's all kinds of pistons in here that basically will go ahead and crush all the leaves. At the top, we've got pistons that go ahead and slice off the trunk into blocks and push it along. So here we have storage for our various different things, and I've been doing a bunch of birch lately, so let's get some birch out, and we'll get some bone meal, and we'll give you a demonstration of how this works. So you want to stand right in here. There's a dirt block, and directly below this dirt block, as a matter of fact, I can show you with the gravel inspection maintenance switch. Once in a while, sometimes a piece of gravel gets dislodged or something will jam up, and so you might have to restack that. So basically, this allows us to flip the switch open and take a look at the gravel underneath, and that's exactly how it should look. There should be gravel block 1 down, and this gravel should be right even with that, just under that dirt block, which has been retracted by a piston. So go ahead and flip that back, and there's our dirt block. And you want to make sure that you stand. I put red wool here and for a couple of the blocks, just so that you would make sure that you didn't get up here and try to put a tree in, because you will get smashed by these pistons. So the safe place to stand is right here. So let's go ahead and we'll put a sapling on. And as you can see, the system recognized that there is a sapling on the dirt block. There's kind of like a bud update detector that recognizes that. And it sets it up so that when this state changes again and turns into a tree, the machine will automatically fire. So let's go ahead, and I'll try to get into a good position where we can look up and see this all in action. We'll throw some bone meal on here, and there it goes, and here everything happens. Crunch, 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 crunch. All the leaves get destroyed. The gravel block goes up, pushes everything all the way to the top, and then automatically falls down, and then finally the dirt block retracts, and we're ready for the next sapling. Quite impressive. Just a tremendous amount of repeaters and redstones and pistons. There's double pistons in here, and it's just a crazy setup. We'll give you a view from the top here. Let's do another one just for fun. We can do pretty much any tree. I've tried spruce. I've tried the birch. Jungle trees work. Oak trees work. It's fantastic. Of course, you get some saplings too that drop down. This time we didn't happen to get any, but a lot of times there'll be a few saplings when the leaves are crushed that drop down, and that helps keep the supply of saplings going. So let's go ahead and do another one. And there it goes. All the pistons come out, crush all the leaves. Everything pushes up, and all those blocks are just slid over. We'll show you how that works. There's a couple of saplings there, so we'll go ahead and collect those. Oh, one over there. Excellent. So let's go ahead and head up top and take a view from the top and show you what's going on up there. And here we are up on the top of the mountain, and as I said, this worked out absolutely perfectly. We just broke through the top here slightly. I actually had to put a couple of little fence gates on there because I couldn't cover that over with glass because it's just a little bit too tall. But there we are looking down. There is one layer, and that's like 5 layers of this to do all the leaf crushing. But you can see all of the repeaters and pistons, and it's just crazy how this all works. This was just a ton of fun to build, but boy, I'll tell you, it was tedious watching the video, making sure that all these layers were correct. And I wish I could have somebody come in and we'd watch this thing go from the top, but unfortunately, I don't have anybody around that can drop a sapling on for us. But basically, this is how it all gets handled once it hits the top here. This piston starts pushing these blocks over, and I believe you can push like 12 of these along a line. And so when we get to the 12th one, we have a piston here that starts pushing them down and basically makes a stack of wood going all the way down. And we can see that down in here. There are all of the items getting pushed down to the bottom, and then we have a row of pistons that once it finally gets to the bottom, starts pushing them over as vertical columns. And if we go down a little bit further, we go over into the lumberyard area, and here we go out a ways, and then finally we get to a point where we can't push them out any further, so we start pushing them over. And here's some oak wood that I had done. Basically, this is a real simple way that this works. Once a block goes over the top of this redstone torch, it becomes powered, which then powers this redstone that goes in and basically extends all of these pistons at the same time and pushes them over. So over here, this is the danger area where all these blocks will go. That basically will fill that entire thing if I kept doing saplings. But over here we have a big wall of pistons that basically when this line gets pushed all the way over to here, it's the same principle, powers this redstone, makes this whole wall of pistons come out and basically pushes this entire cube forward. So we have just tons and tons and tons of trees that we can just chop down with the axe. And we've gone ahead and we've got a chest here. And yes, crazily enough, I dropped a hopper system from here all the way back to the base. I probably should have done that as a rail system because hoppers do create some lag, and this was a ton of hoppers to get all the way back to the base. But nevertheless, that is a hopper system, so I can just chop all this stuff up and just drop it into the chest. It'll automatically go into the item sorter and get dropped into the appropriate chest there. But here is the lumberyard. We'll come back up the other side. We'll take a quick look in the observation area. Up and around here. And there's the stairway where we came up. And we basically came down here. And of course, we took this path down here to show you that. But we've got a glass area here where we can watch all the stuff come out. And run over here and watch the blocks go through. And basically, it allows us to observe the whole process. So there is the tree eater. It was just as I said, just probably the craziest contraption that I've ever built. Redstone and repeaters galore. It's just an insane amount of configuring and work, and it took quite a while to build this. And I just like the sheer size of the thing. I just like watching it run because it's just nuts to see all that piston work crushing all those leaves and all of that stuff. So there is the tree eater. We'll go ahead and get back down to ground zero. And let's see, probably will take you, maybe we'll go out to the witch hut next. So let's get down to, it's getting, the sun is starting to go down, so might be a good time to go visit the witch farm. Although witches spawn during the day just as well as they do at night, but it seems like nighttime you get a few more witches, just simply so that we can show lots of witches being dropped into that. So we're going to go ahead and do that next. So I hope you enjoyed the tree eater. I'm going to come back and we'll show you the witch farm. that's here, and we'll do that in just a minute. All right, let's go ahead and head on over to the witch farm. I went over there while it was dark, and the farm was so hard to see at night that I said, well, let's go ahead and wait until daytime so that you guys can get a good view of the farm. So we'll go ahead and head on over there. Now, I'm running a bucket server here with a multiverse and multiverse portals, which is what all these little cells are. Anytime you see a two opening here with a glowstone in the bottom, basically that's a portal, and it makes it relatively easy to move around. On our first world, we were kind of bunched up, so we wanted to go ahead and make sure that we had plenty of room to expand when we came over here to the second world. So one of the things that I did, we are also running Dynamap, which allows us to use a web browser and get a view of the map. And it's got some pretty incredible detail. We may show you a quick view of that before this tour is over. But the witch hut, unfortunately, was quite a ways away, and really the only practical way to get there was to go ahead and use a portal. So I'm going to go ahead and jump through the portal now. And here we are. There is our witch farm. We'll give it a second or two for Minecraft to load all the chunks. A little slow at doing that, unfortunately. Come on. You can do it. Go ahead and get those chunks loaded up. We'll give it just a second. But basically, we're over here, and the far western part of the map, the base is way over that way someplace. And I'm not sure why these chunks are not loading. Come on. Lag. Let's see. There we go. Get that one to load. Let me go over and nudge this one a bit, see if we can get that one to fill in. There we go. And there. Okay, everything is now rendered properly. So let's go ahead and we'll run across our little lily pad pathway here over to the collection area. And this is our witch hut. There was a witch hut standing right here in this particular spot. I went ahead and kind of rebuilt it over there in the background just so that I wouldn't, destroy the idea of what the witch hut looked like. But basically, this is how it works. It's a little two-layer system, and right now we've got the floodgates are on to wash the items off. Okay, that's on a timer. Okay, there we go. And now that is off, and we should hopefully, if I stand back here, we should get some witch spawning happening. Get back somewhere in this area, and we should start seeing some witches spawn, hopefully any moment now. The big overhang basically was to provide enough shade so that even during the day, it was dark enough to get some witches to spawn. And I'm surprised that we don't have a spawn as of yet. Oh, I think that switch is backwards. Every once in a while that will happen, so let me see if I can jump in there and reverse that. Basically the on-off cycle is messed up, so I'll see if I can go in and reset that. I think that's what this button I put in is for. There we go. Okay, so it should be off longer than it's on. Let's see if it's now working right. Okay, there is the on cycle. It should be on just for a few seconds, and then it should go off automatically. Let's see. Okay, that looks correct. All right, so let's get back over here and see if we can get things to work correctly now. All right. Stand back here. Yeah, see the water is off now for... Okay, there we go. We got a witch. I see her. Go up and take a look. I mean, they'll wander off the platform on their own. That's not a problem. I'm sorry if that's a little dark. Again, it has to be dark in order to get them to spawn. We'll get a better look at her when she comes out in the channel here. But, and unfortunately, yes, we do have a spider. Will spawn in there. I left a one whole gap in the back of this for the spiders to get out. Again, this is not supposed to happen. I'm not sure why I am getting mobs in here. I've tried changing the height of the platforms, It should be just a witch spawning area, but for some reason I do get other mobs that spawn in there. Not a big deal. We don't mind some of the other mobs. There's our witch, and basically, once that water stream washes her off, she'll go ahead and float down the channel, and down here I have a drop that's sufficiently deep in order for her to die when she hits the bottom. Bye-bye, poof, and then a hopper at the bottom collects all of the loot. So that's basically how that works. There's another witch. This spawns witches at a fairly good level. There's another one that just fell off the side there, or walked off the side, and they get pushed into that channel. As I said, I do get some other mobs, but that's not a big deal. I would have preferred to have nothing but straight witches, but that's okay. We get a little extra gunpowder. Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah, here's another one coming down the chain. So yeah, it does a fairly good job of spawning. I initially had not bothered with the water wash system, but then I saw Monkeyfarm. This is Monkeyfarm's basic design, by the way. It looks a lot like his if you watch his video, and I'll put a link to his video that it's going to look a lot similar. I use the same column design and the whole 9 yards. The only difference is he washes his into a nether portal, which I attempted to do, but in the bucket server, the nether doesn't quite line up correctly as far as the portals go. And I couldn't get mine carts or any of that stuff to work reliably, so I just said, the heck with it. We'll just collect it in a chest, and we'll deal with it that way. So let's go ahead and go down below, and we'll show you the other end of this. I've got a water pool here, so I can jump down real quickly. There we go. It's all hidden in behind in here because I was having problems when the witches were dropping down. I had some glass there so I could actually see them drop, but items were getting blown through the glass into the room, and so I kept making the glass area smaller, and the items would still glitch out. Finally, I ended up having to put like 2 or 3 layers of cobblestone. Looks like 2, I guess, here, in order to seal that all up. But basically, it all comes into this chest. Of course, they drop sticks and spider eyes and bottles, and there's some stuff from the zombies that occasionally spawn in there. They also drop glowstone, so it's quite lucrative. You can hear them when they hit plop, plop. And there's some glowstone and some sugar. That's also what they drop. So yeah, it doesn't take long. I just went ahead and cleared this chest out. One of the problems with the witch farm is you've got to make sure that up top that you light up the area extremely well, because you basically have to stop all the other mobs from spawning in the area, and that can be done a couple of different ways. You could flood the entire area with water everywhere around it, or you could put half slabs all around. I was fairly lucky in that this was in a fairly good water area, so a lot of this is water, but I'm going to go ahead and show you just how much spamming of the torches that I ended up having to do. This whole island is all spammed with torches. You can see the torches all along here and all the way around. We just went torch crazy in an effort to try to make sure that no mobs would spawn anywhere near the witch hut. So all the way around this witch hut we had to go through and put torches. I actually missed some right there. That's interesting. I should go back and put some more there, but things are working. So but yeah, all of this land all the way around all had to be torched up. I ran around putting torches down for I don't know how long, but it was a lot of torch work. So all around the witch hut for quite a good area, you've got to make sure that you torch it up as much as possible to really try to force those mobs not to spawn. Over the top here, you can see the original area. Here's a replica. This is a fake witch hut that I built, but that's what they look like initially. And if you look over here up on the top, there is the initial area of the witch hut, and they will spawn anywhere in this square. And supposedly, if you get the right levels, they will go ahead and spawn only witches. For some reason, like I said, I ended up getting some mobs. So as you can see, they're producing a fair amount of witches. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 up here. Oh yeah, more coming down the other side. So we're getting a plethora of witches coming out of the witch farm, and with all the stuff that they drop, it really becomes a really good farm to have. I really wanted to have a witch farm. I wish it was closer, but unfortunately it's not. So that's the way it is. Go ahead and quickly show you the other part of this. Down here, there is, what was that? Is that the? Oh, okay, yes, yeah, there we go. There's a switch in here to turn the timer. I almost forgot about this. You can turn that water wash system on or off. Right now, the witch washer, as I called it, is turned on, so that goes ahead and cycles that water dispensers and washes those witches off the side just to keep things flowing. And basically, that's what this line is. Comes from that switch. And here we have a basic hopper clock, 2 hoppers feeding into each other, and a lot of delay here that there it goes, just firing off. You can see the repeaters going through and causing that. And then finally it goes ahead and switches it back off again. So it's just long enough to provide a water stream, wash the witches off, and then it stops, and then we can play with this hopper clock. As you can see, the items are going back and forth. So the more items I put in this this hopper to be transferred back and forth, the longer the delay is between water washes. This one is about a minute, maybe a minute and a half before it takes off and does it again. That's just about enough time to get the next batch of witches to spawn. And we wash them off and bring them down the channel. And then in to the drop, that column that goes ahead and drops. So we'll go back down and show you one last item here. I wanted some way to get things back to the base. So I attempted to build a rail system. Now this is one long, did I say long? It's a long rail system to back up to my base. In fact, it is so long that the minecart, if you send it on its way, will eventually go into an unloaded chunk and stop. And I did not realize this when I was setting this up. I was going to do a rail delivery system similar to what Dataless had done in his mine, but it just does not work because it's just so far away. There's no way to keep the chunks loaded. So basically I left the rail system in because I dug and dug and dug and dug forever and laid track and laid track and laid track. It was just an insane project. But unfortunately, it just does not work. So the only way that it's practical is I can go ahead and I can come in and I can empty this chest, grab all the stuff. Oh yeah, redstone. That's right. They also drop redstone. Yeah, witches drop a ton of stuff. It's just fantastic. So I can collect all the items for that chest. I can go in and I can put it in this minecart chest and push the button. And of course it will go just so far and stop. But over here I do have a series of regular minecarts. So the one way that I can get it to work is I can drop a minecart on here and then ride behind the chest and go all the way back to my base. And I'm not even going to bother to show you because it's just a long, boring ride. It's just tunnel after, long tunnels. They go all the way back to the base. Yeah, we can hear the guys dropping. Yeah. Good. Oh, that sounded like a zombie. Good. But yeah, the loot's building up. So yeah, the witch farm works extremely well. Down here, that was the other part of when I was telling you about how to make this witch farm work. Is not only do you have to torch up and prevent mobs from spawning above ground, you also have to make sure that all your cave areas are torched up and to prevent the mobs from spawning underground as well. And ideally, you try to find a witch hut that doesn't have many caves underneath it. My luck, I'm on top of an abandoned railway station, of course. So there's a bazillion passages and areas that just go up and down. Oh, a little gold that I missed. I'll come back and mine that out. But yeah, this just goes on forever. I explored and torched up this until I thought I was going to scream because it just never ended. It just went on and on and on, and it was just a colossal pain to try to light up all these areas. But I think I have it sufficiently lit. I'm very happy with the spawn rate, witches form quite often, and it's not a problem. So I've obviously got enough area to lit up and for sufficient area. But yes, of course, leave it to Mars to pick a witch hut that's on top of an abandoned rail station. So anyway, that is the witch hut. I hope you enjoyed that. Again, based on Monkey Farm's design as far as the look of the building and the water wash system. It's all attributed to him. I basically just copied that. Thank you, Monkey Farm, for the great ideas. And that's the witch farm. And oh, I can see a glass bottle sitting there. I wonder how that happened. That's interesting. Yep, here comes some more witches. We'll go ahead and grab that glass bottle if I can get it. Nope, must be a glitch. Yeah, it's strange how those items will glitch through the blocks and so forth. So, all right. Anyway, it is nighttime again, and as you can see, it's a little hard to see that farm. So I'm glad I came out here during the day, gave you a good view of it. Let's go ahead and we'll go back to the portal over here, and we will go back to the base. I will show you quickly where that ends up. Okay, here we are back in our base here. The other end of that rail line is underneath the Iron Golem Farm. I will just show you that for the heck of it. I wanted to get someplace where I was close to the hopper system, so I decided to bring the rail system out here. Here's the other end of that. And as I said, this thing just goes on forever and ever and ever. It's just an incredibly long mine track. It just goes out of sight. It's just blocks and blocks and blocks. And unfortunately, it doesn't work as an automatic delivery system, but nevertheless. And when it does come in, there is a hopper here. And once that minecart chest stops, it'll drain everything out into the item sorter. So that part of it is automated, but I do have to ride behind it to get it back. So that is the witch hut, and how we get there. Oh, I see a creeper out there. Let's go ahead and get back inside. All right, the next thing on the tour is, I guess, going to be the... This is probably the most amusing creation here. I saw this Doc M and the gang got bored one day and decided to make something called the Peking Cow Blender, or the Tornado, or whatever Doc M decided to call it. I've stuck with the blender idea, but this is just fun. It's just a silly little contraption that is used to get pork chops and steak and leather, and it's just basically a cow and breeder cooker system. And it's just kind of silly how they ended up doing it. It's fun to watch, and we're going to see that coming up next on Marsman's World Tour and Showcase. We'll be right back in just a minute.